What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about how Kevin Durant and Patrick Beverley got ejected from this weekend's game. So let's see what they have to say about that.
KD's ejection, was this a big deal?
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I personally would have preferred it not been called because watching them compete, knowing how Patrick Beverley is, I didn't see non-basketball plays, Max, take place. I didn't see clothes hang, somebody get headline, clothesline or anything like that. They were basketball plays. And sometimes you look at the league and you're like, come on, guys. Yeah. And even on that particular play, the ball was being thrown to Patrick Beverley and Kevin Durant went towards him, couldn't stop the momentum or whatever, but didn't mind being physical because Patrick Beverley was being physical with him. So in that regard, I do think that the call was excessive to throw them out of the game just because Patrick Beverley jumped up and they were willing to get in each other's face. It wasn't like fisticuffs was going to take place, in my opinion. I just think that it's the playoffs. I really wish that hadn't happened. Having said all of
I definitely agree with Stephen A. Smith. It's the playoffs. It's the first round. Guys are getting hyped up. Guys are ready because I know they're trying to make a run for the championship. So, emotions are going to be a little bit high. So I think the referee should just let them play. Like Stephen A. said, they're not going to fist the cuffs or anything like that. Let these guys play. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
That does not absolve Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, the last game of the regular season, he received his 16th technical foul. It ultimately was rescinded. But nevertheless, that was 16. And it really didn't matter because it was the last game of the regular season and the slate is wiped clean come postseason time. A 16th technical foul, conjures an automatic one-game suspension by the league in the regular season. Yeah. Then they wipe it off, and then come playoff time, you get 6, and then a 7th, you get suspended. Kevin Durant just picked up 2.
I don't think there's going to be a problem with Kevin Durant moving forward. I think he's just trying to assert himself, let everybody know that it's playoff time. And I don't know, it seems like he's just trying to be a little bit more tougher. But I think he's smart enough to not let that go over the line and getting kicked out of games or get suspended. I think he knows where the line's at, and I don't think he'll cross it. Kevin Durant, it's not really in his personality to be going all out in the type of fashion that he's been doing. So I don't think that will continue. I think he's smart enough to know don't hurt the team by getting ejected, especially with what happened to Draymond Green years ago. So I'm not worried about Kevin Durant. Let's keep going.
He just got 2. That means he's got 4 more to go. Here's the problem. Patrick Beverley's probably going home in the next 4 games, next 4 or 5 games. Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors, you got this one. You got at least 4 more games in the next round, at least 4 more games in the conference finals. If you're gifted, if you do what we expect you to do, there'll be at least 4 more games in the finals. We're talking about a minimum of 15 more games to go if they're going to win the title. Kevin Durant could very well end up finding himself suspended. I think if there's anybody...
So I don't think Kevin Durant will get suspended. Like I said, I think he can keep it under wraps and control himself. So you don't think that the next teams that they play are going to pick up the script from what Patrick Beverley did to try to throw Kevin Durant off his game, to try to get him suspended, try to get him to fight back? So I think Kevin Durant's going to know what other teams are going to try to do. They know what Patrick Beverley is doing to try and throw him off. I don't think Kevin Durant will be a problem. And at the very least, at the very worst, if Kevin Durant does get suspended for games, that should be okay because they won before he got there. They won a championship before Kevin Durant got there. So they have all the major players still there. Kevin Durant's just iced on the cake. Do you want to get suspended? No. But if it comes to that, and I don't think it will, I think Golden State will be just fine without Kevin Durant because they've done it before. So let's keep going.
That can control themselves, I think it's him. But it doesn't escape me, Max. I've had officials on numerous occasions say to me this year, these dudes, some of them need to be thrown out of the league the way that they talk to us. I've had officials say to me, if you knew the stuff that they said and the stuff that they get away with, it's gotten out of control.
I don't want to hear anything about a referee crying about what some player said to him, okay? I don't want to hear that at all. It's a game, a competitive game. The guys are playing at the highest level. I don't want to hear a referee crying about, someone so cussed me out or whatever. If it comes to that, say something back. Okay, say something back. But I don't want to hear his crying and moaning and complaining about a referee talking about some player cussed him out. You know, what about the fans cuss people out too? Well, the referee's going to get mad at the fans too? So I don't want to hear this crying and moaning and groaning from a referee that can't take some player cussing at him or saying something. You're in a high pressure situation. Emotions are going to be flying. People are going to get mad. People are going to get hyped up, and they're not always going to be nice to you. So quit crying about that. Plus, you're making like $150,000 a year just being a referee. So I don't want to hear any of this garbage about, oh, so-and-so has said something to me, and they should be kicked out of the league for talking. I mean, whatever happened to sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So let's keep going.
They want to compete against the refs more than they want to compete against other players. I've had referees tell me that. That's how bad it has gotten. So something needs to be done, and Kevin Durant got to watch himself because you need to be there, because I got news for you. I don't believe the Warriors can win the championship without him.
Well, how could you say that, Stephen A., when they did it before? They won without Kevin Durant being there before the first time around. And they have all the major players. Well, Curry, Clay, Draymond, even Bogut was freaking there. So to say that they can't do it, you cannot even run with that argument because they did it before. They did it before. So let's keep going.
My answer is it's a deal, but it's not a big deal yet. Look, game one, already 2 techs. You can't, seventh one is an ejection. Come on, KD. You got the whole playoffs in front of you. You got 4 more. What are you doing? On the other hand, maybe he learns his lesson early, You look at the other two, like Houston doesn't have Patrick Beverley anymore. Patrick Beverley's the guy who got under his skin. How many guys like Patrick Beverley is KD going to come across in the playoffs? And also because this is being made...
Well, it's not, who he comes across, but whoever he has to deal with, they're going to take the blueprints of what Patrick Beverley did and try to throw Kevin Durant off his game. So it's not specifically the type of player, whoever. It could be anybody. Anybody that's guarding KD, they're going to know, let's try and push his buttons because he's already got 2 techs and he doesn't have very much more. And they have a lot of gameplay to do. So if each round, each player that goes against Kevin Durant can chip away and get 1 tech, maybe 2 after each round, then that'll be successful. But I think Kevin Durant is way smarter than to get in trouble like that with the text. And if push comes to shove, I'm pretty sure Kerr would step in and use Kevin Durant sparingly, or however, as a head coach, he wants to deal with it. But I don't see Kevin Durant getting kicked out because of technicals. It would be something else other than that. But I don't know. Let's keep going.
Big deal of now. You would think he'd be able to control himself. Now, to your point, you say, I think KD will be able to control himself. KD's a bit of a hothead. Like, consider this for a second. You always call the Draymond suspension a stimulus package for the Cavs, the year that the Warriors won 73 games but fell to the Cavs in the playoffs. Consider this. Draymond Green is like the Patrick Beverley type of that team, of the Warriors. He's the one who gets under other players' skin and all that, and plays the rugged defense, and in certain ways is the emotional leader, right? Like Patrick Beverley, the kind of guy you want on your team. LeBron James got under Draymond's skin. LeBron James baited Draymond into the kind of conduct violation. I'm not going here with you today. That resulted in Draymond's suspension. But
Draymond had good reason to do what he did, because if you go back to look at, LeBron James stepped over Draymond Green in a very disrespectful manner that you just can't let go. You can't let that go. So Draymond Green defended himself. And people say, well, he hit, LeBron James in his nuts. He didn't directly hit him in his nuts. He made motions that he was going to do that. So as far as that, Draymond Green had to do what he had to do. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
KD, it's not like he got under someone else's skin. He allowed Patrick Beverley to get him thrown out.
And he's like 10 inches taller than him. Why are you bothered by that?
It's also that...
And Molly, shut up. It doesn't matter how big he is. Anybody can get under your skin. Look at gnats. There's little flies that fly around. How small are gnats? And if it flies around your head, it's going to bother you and distract you from whatever you're doing. So it doesn't matter how big Patrick Beverley is compared to Kevin Durant. It doesn't matter. As long as he gets in his way and distracts him, that's all that needs to be done. And that's what he did. Beverley did his job for the first game. So as far as how big he is, that doesn't matter. So let's keep going.
Of course, KD has to know they would gladly trade.
I'll explain.
They would gladly trade Patrick Beverley for KD. If you're the other team, here, we'll give you Patrick Beverley. Let's get Patrick Beverley out. You get KD out. Why is KD falling into that trap? And can he control himself in the moment of truth?
I will tell you this. If there's anybody that could get under your skin, it's Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is a pit bull, one of the elite defenders in basketball as far as I'm concerned.
I hate to cut him off, but I agree. Patrick Beverley is a beast, and he proved it game one. So let's keep going.
Answer your question about being so much shorter.
Yeah.
Any tall individual will tell you there's nothing worse than a pest that can get
fire hydrant
that works on your lower extremities.
Yeah.
They're cutting you off at the knees. They're undercutting you. They're low bridging you. They're doing all of those things. Somebody looking at you eye to eye is less of an irritant than somebody. Think Muggsy Bogues would be like. There was a time in the 80s where Muggsy Bogues was an absolute nightmare because this dude about 5'3", 5'4", would pick you up 94 feet, and nobody wanted to dribble the ball up the court against him. Gene Smith in the 80s playing for with Patrick Ewing and for John Thompson and those boys at Georgetown until Dwayne Pearl Washington boogied on them. God rest his soul, former Syracuse star. I mean, Gene Smith was a nightmare for everybody.
Eric Bledsoe right now. Eric Bledsoe was a
pit bull himself. Patrick Beverley is that kind of guy, and he's feisty. He ain't scared of anything.
Well, is Draymond scared of something?
No, but the difference is that Draymond is usually arguing and fighting with the refs. Patrick, if you look at the video when they show Patrick Beverley sitting there jabbing Kevin Durant when he's sitting there going like this. In other words, you flopping. Play. What you flopping for? You got a 10-inch advantage on me. You're supposed to be the second best player on the planet. What you flopping for? Let's go. He was doing that on purpose. I mean, that's how Patrick Beverley is all the time.
You're trying to be the alpha of the NBA, which LeBron has been, which KD is aspiring to. Then you don't allow the Patrick Beverley or the Draymond